Season 10 of League of Legends was a pretty interesting season for me. I peaked Challenger about halfway through the season, and at the time I was really into it. The new dragon system felt really fun and exciting. Solo queue didn't seem to be quite as bad as it once was, and overall I just felt like I was playing some of the best League of Legends I've ever played, and I was enjoying it more than ever. So for the first time in my 9 years of playing this game, reaching Challenger felt fun and enjoyable. It actually came pretty easy to me. However, as time went on, I found myself playing the game less and less. I demoted out of Grandmaster, and eventually I decayed all the way to Diamond 1, where I ended up finishing the season. There wasn't any specific reason that caused me to stop playing the game. I kind of just grew bored of it over time and decided to try other things. And as the end of the season came around, I don't think I played League or touched League at all for the last 3 months of the season, and when it came to preseason, I only played a handful of games overall. Season 11 eventually came around, and even though I was pretty out of the loop with everything and all the new item changes, and I was just very rusty to the game, I decided to give the game another try. And as you can probably tell from the title of this video, my solo queue climb surprisingly started off insanely good in Season 11. I managed to get back to Masters and sit within the top 400 of all players in North America after just playing 30 games and having a 64% win rate. What's going on, Nasteey Nation? It's Nasteey, and in today's video, I'll be going over my key tips and tricks that I used to climb to Masters this season in just 30 games while playing support. So with that being said, if you guys go on to enjoy this video or find it helpful, then I would really appreciate it if you would leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. It really does help a lot when it comes to helping the channel grow. And also feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know if you have any personal tips or tricks that you've been using to help yourself climb so far this season. Anyways, that should just about do it for this introduction. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so for starters, I want to talk about something that I've talked about a lot on this channel so far, and that is my champion pool. Whenever you watch a video that offers tips and tricks for climbing in solo queue, there's a ton of them out there on YouTube, but anytime you watch one of these videos, you're bound to hear something about a champion pool. But it honestly seems like there's a lot of different ideas out there about what your champion pool is actually supposed to consist of. Some people think that one-tricking a champion is the best way to climb. Other people would recommend that you just stick to playing whatever the OP champions are, and some people might just recommend to play literally whatever champion sounds fun like playing at the moment. But my personal approach when it comes to picking out your champion pool is to keep it short and simple. I think one of the most effective ways to climb is to limit your champion pool to about 2 or 3 champions, no more and no less. I think one-tricking is just something you should avoid altogether, not only because one-tricking a champion makes you an extremely one-dimensional player, but there's also a lot of other problems that you can run into. Let's say your champion that you one-trick gets nerfed really badly, the enemy team happens to pick your champion so you can't pick it, the enemy team counters your champion, or maybe your champion just gets banned, and at that point you're forced to decide between inting on a champion that you're not good at or just dodging. Personally, I think it's best to just avoid these kind of situations altogether, avoid one-tricking, include a couple more champions in your champion pool, and you can avoid that problem altogether. On top of this, I'm a firm believer in the idea that it's better to be great at a few things than good at a lot of things, and limiting yourself to a small champion pool will help apply that concept to your solo queue games. Now, when it comes to your champion pool itself, and more specifically the actual champions that you're playing within your champion pool, my advice here will differ depending on the rank that you're playing at. I know a lot of people can be extremely obsessed with what champions are considered to be strong OP meta picks, but the majority of players who play this game are also considered to be lower ranked players. So I don't really mean to flame anybody when I say this, but if you are currently sitting in gold, silver, bronze, or iron, at least to me, you are considered to be a lower ranked player, and I don't personally you should overwhelm yourself or concern yourself too much about what is considered to be a meta champion. Now, before anybody takes this the wrong way and just assumes that I am here flaming lower ranked players, let me explain my thought process here. So it has been proven actually that the large majority of players are in gold or lower, and these players are often at these ranks for a good reason. People can often convince themselves that the reason they are stuck at a specific rank is because of their teammates, but just trust me when I tell you that that is not the reason that you are stuck at the rank you are. Sure, you may run into bad teammates here and there, but your teammates are not the sole reason that you're incapable of escaping the low rank that you're at. The reason that most people actually find themselves stuck at a lower rank is simply because their mechanics are not yet good enough to take them up to the next level. So with that in mind, I strongly suggest that if you are one of these lower ranked players, that you just stick to playing champions that you're comfortable with. If you're constantly trying to fit the OP or meta champions into your champion pool, you'll continue to struggle mechanically and stay at the same rank. But if you just get over this idea that you have to play meta champions and instead play champions that you're already comfortable on, the mechanics will come a lot easier and you could focus more on climbing and less on trying to master a brand new champion. But then on the other hand, when it does come to the higher ranked players, which in my opinion consists of anything Diamond 2 and up, now at this point I just recommend you actually play the OP or meta champions. My thought process behind this is pretty much based on the fact that in higher ranked games, all of the players should be pretty good mechanically at this point, so it can often be the difference maker in these games isn't so much due to mechanical difference, but instead based on which team has the stronger team composition. So for example, in my personal climb so far this season, I've limited myself to either playing Maokai or Rakan in just about every single game that I've played. Maokai is a champion I've practiced a lot in the past, he's extremely strong at the moment, and Rakan is my favorite champion of all time, who just so happens to have a decent win rate at the moment. I'm pretty comfortable on both of these champions, but the main reason I play them is because they are really meta at the moment, and that's just the edge that I need over my opponent when I'm playing against some of the best players in North America. So again, the main thing that I want you guys to take away from this piece of advice is to limit your champion pool to 2 or 3 champions, play the champions that you're comfortable with if you're a lower ranked player, and abuse the OP champions if you're a higher ranked player. This is actually a strategy I abuse just about every single season for my climb, but for some reason it seems to be even more effective in Season 11. Another thing I've done a lot to help me climb in the past, and I've been doing it even more this season, is the use of third-party programs. I've used a ton of different programs and websites over the years, and although just about every single website that you can find will be pretty useful these days, I practically get all of the information I could possibly need off of u.gg, op.gg, and LOLalytics. Also, just a heads up before I say anything else about these websites, nothing I'm about to say is sponsored, I actually just really like these websites. So for starters, u.gg is what I use most commonly for runes, builds, and skill orders. I've been using u.gg a lot this season, especially after not playing for so long and having no idea what any of the items were anymore. Anytime I'm confused what I should be building on a champion, I just go to u.gg, type in the champion I'm playing, change the rank to only show ranked games from Diamond 2 or higher, and check what the highest win rate build is. I will say, however, just as a quick warning, that comping the exact same build every single game can be a pretty bad habit to get into, since you should ideally be adapting and changing your build from game to game, just depending on what it is that you need in that specific game. But overall, just in order to get a good basic understanding of runes, builds, and skill orders, I think u.gg can be extremely useful. op.gg is another site I use, and this is one that you've probably heard of already, but most people kind of just use it as a way to look at your match history, and that's not actually what I prefer to use this website for. The feature I personally like op.gg for is its ability to look up all of your teammates in Champion Select. I'm not sure too many people actually know this, but when you join Champion Select, you can just copy all of these summoner names, paste that into the search bar on op.gg, and then it'll pop up showing stats for everybody on your team. This will help you a lot when it comes to evaluating your team, checking out who's tilted, checking out who's on a hot streak, who's on a champion they're good at, who's on a champion they're most likely going to feed on, and overall it'll just give you a better understanding of whether or not you're going to win or lose that game. And if after you look at all of your teammates you think that the game is already doomed, then you can just dodge and avoid the loss altogether. Which, on that note, I actually just want to quickly pause for a moment and emphasize the power of dodging, because it's actually really broken. If you just invest some time in Champion Select to take a look at your team and dodge if you think the game is lost, then that in itself will help you climb so much faster. I know it can suck from time to time to lose LP and have to wait even longer to get into a game, but dodging is a much better outcome than playing out a game that you feel like you have no chance of winning. Moving on though, the last third-party program that I wanted to mention in this video was LOLalytics, which is my go-to website to check out what champions are currently doing best in solo queue. I was working with Mobalytics actually on tier list for some time last year, and this was the main source of analytics that they would use to base their tier list off of, and ever since then it's been the website that I use and trust the most. After any new patch, or if I just spend some time away from the game and feel out of loop with the meta, I just come back to this website and sort the champions by the highest win rate for my role. Of course, if you're at a lower rank, you can change the search to match the rank that you're playing at, but I personally just like to do Diamond 2 and up when I search. But after you get your search figured out, just looking at this one page should give you a really good understanding of what champions are currently strongest in the meta. I will, however, say as another warning though, win rates don't always mean everything, and you should also keep an eye out for low play rates, and a small sample size could indicate misleading data. Either way though, LOLalytics is still a really solid website to check out if you want to look at the current best champions in the game. Alright, and finally, the last piece of advice that I would like to offer, the last trick that I used this season to help myself climb, is playing under the right conditions. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been playing this game for around 9 years now, and it feels like every single season, right as the new season began, I would spam solo queue non-stop, and I would just play brainlessly practically. I would play whenever I was tilted, I would play if I was hungry, I would play if I was distracted, or really just any condition that hindered my ability to play the game to the best of my ability, because I was so worried about getting as many games in as I could, and I wasn't being worried about how good I was playing in these games. This season, however, it only took me 30 games to get to Masters, but that's because instead of spamming 30 games right away, I took my time and played 30 quality games. It might sound kind of dramatic to some people, but realistically, you're free to take League as seriously as you'd like to take it. And if you really do want to climb, if you really do care about your rank, then you're going to have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and being smart about when you choose to play the game. Some days you might be able to sit down and you'll be capable of playing 10 games in a row without any problems. But then other days you might sit down, play one game, and be way too tilted to play for the next week or so. It really is different for everybody, so this is up for you to determine, but just keep this in mind and try to only queue up for solo queue when you feel like you're capable of playing to the best of your ability. Well, alright then, ladies and gentlemen, that should just about wrap up the end of this video. I have a lot of tips and tricks for League of Legends and the support role specifically. So again, if you guys did go on to enjoy this video and you have not done so already, then feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Season 11 has been off to a great start for me so far. I'm really excited to see how the rest of this season plays out. I hope that you guys are all able to meet your end of the season goals as well. Best of luck in solo queue. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Time.